NASCAR has ignited a firestorm across the racing world after unveiling a dramatic rules package for the upcoming Daytona regular season finale. In one of the most significant superspeedway changes of the next-gen era, officials announced that the rear spoiler will be cut from 7 inches to just 4 inches, while engine power will also be reduced from 510 horsepower to 465. The goal is to create more passing opportunities and reduce the fuel-saving races that have frustrated many drivers and fans in recent years. The announcement immediately triggered intense reactions throughout the NASCAR community. While some competitors welcomed NASCAR's willingness to experiment, others questioned whether such a major change should be introduced so late in the season. Critics argued that Daytona is one of the sport's most unpredictable tracks already, and altering the aerodynamic package could create new uncertainties just weeks before the playoff battle reaches its most critical stage. According to NASCAR officials and members of the working group, the changes are designed to make drivers more aggressive and less dependent on track position. NASCAR Event Management President John Probst and veteran driver Denny Hamlin explained that the current package often traps drivers in line, making it difficult to advance through the field. The new setup is intended to reward bold moves and recreate some of the exciting side-by-side action recently seen at Atlanta. Fans quickly took to social media to debate the move. Some praised NASCAR for actively responding to complaints about superspeedway racing, calling the changes a necessary step forward. Others remained skeptical, arguing that a 3-inch reduction in spoiler size and a horsepower adjustment may not be enough to fundamentally change the racing product. Many supporters described themselves as cautiously optimistic, while critics worried expectations were being set too high. Another major concern involves the lack of extensive on-track testing before the Daytona event. Several fans and industry observers questioned whether teams and drivers will have enough time to adapt to the revised package. The debate intensified online as some pointed out that NASCAR is effectively using one of its most important races as a live experiment, increasing pressure on teams that are fighting for playoff positions and championship hopes. As the countdown to Daytona continues, the controversial rules package has become one of the hottest topics in motorsports. NASCAR believes the changes could unlock more exciting racing and give drivers greater control over their destiny on track. However, with opinions sharply divided and expectations soaring, all eyes will be on Daytona to see whether this bold gamble becomes a breakthrough moment for the sport or another chapter in NASCAR's long history of controversial rule changes. Bubba Wallace has become the center of a growing controversy after NASCAR's decision to penalize him following the dramatic finish at Atlanta's Echo Park Speedway. What initially looked like a hard-fought second-place finish quickly turned into a heated debate when officials ruled that Wallace violated the track boundary rule by going below the yellow line on the final lap. The penalty dropped the 23 Alpin's racing driver to the last car on the lead lap and immediately triggered accusations from some fans that NASCAR was unfairly targeting one of its most recognizable stars. The conspiracy theories gained momentum on social media, where supporters argued that Wallace never gained an advantage from the move and was instead trying to avoid a dangerous accident. Wallace himself challenged NASCAR's interpretation of the rule, explaining that he lifted off the throttle and did not improve his position. After a lengthy meeting between 23X Racing and NASCAR officials, however, the sanctioning body refused to reverse the decision. As outrage spread online, many fans pointed to what they viewed as inconsistent enforcement of NASCAR's track limit regulations. Critics highlighted previous superspeedway finishes where drivers were either penalized or allowed to continue under similar circumstances, fueling speculation that Wallace had been treated differently. The yellow line rule has generated controversy for years and remains one of the most debated regulations in the sport. Adding even more attention to the story, NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr. once again found himself involved in the discussion surrounding the controversial rule. Earnhardt Jr. has previously argued that NASCAR should reconsider or even eliminate the yellow line rule because of the confusion and inconsistency it often creates in dramatic finishes. His past criticism resurfaced as fans revisited whether the current system is still effective in modern NASCAR racing. The controversy has overshadowed several major storylines from Atlanta, including Ryan Blaney's victory and Carson Hocevar's near-breakthrough performance. Instead, much of the NASCAR world has spent the week analyzing replays of Wallace's final lap maneuver, debating whether the penalty was justified or whether it became another example of officiating inconsistency at superspeedway races. As NASCAR heads toward its next event, the debate shows no signs of slowing down. While there is no evidence supporting claims of a deliberate effort by NASCAR to stop Wallace, the incident has reignited long-standing concerns about officiating transparency and rule enforcement. For Wallace, the frustration of losing one of his strongest finishes of the season has become motivation moving forward. For NASCAR, the controversy serves as another reminder that every major ruling is now scrutinized by millions of passionate fans. Bubba Wallace became one of the biggest stories in NASCAR this week after a controversial penalty dramatically changed the outcome of the Quaker State 400 at Atlanta's Echo Park Speedway. Wallace crossed the finish line in what appeared to be a strong second-place result, but NASCAR officials later ruled that he violated the sport's yellow line rule on the final lap. The decision dropped the 23X racing driver 27 positions in the final standings and immediately sparked widespread debate throughout the NASCAR community. The emotional impact on Wallace was evident as he and his team spent more than half an hour meeting with NASCAR officials to challenge the ruling. Wallace argued that he had not gained an advantage by going below the yellow line and even claimed he lifted off the throttle to avoid creating a larger incident. Despite those arguments, NASCAR upheld the penalty, leaving Wallace visibly frustrated after what had initially looked like one of his best finishes of the season. The controversy quickly exploded across social media, where thousands of fans questioned NASCAR's interpretation of the rule. Many supporters felt Wallace was being punished for attempting to avoid a crash rather than intentionally gaining positions. Others defended NASCAR's decision, arguing that the yellow line rule has long been a strict part of superspeedway racing. The divide created one of the most viral NASCAR discussions of the week. Among the most notable reactions came from NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Earnhardt Jr., who discussed the incident on his media platforms and highlighted the difficulty of enforcing superspeedway rules consistently. Earnhardt Jr. emphasized that situations occurring in the closing moments of pack racing are often far more complicated than they appear on television, fueling further debate among fans and analysts about whether NASCAR should revisit the rulebook. The incident also overshadowed several other major storylines from Atlanta, including Ryan Blaney's victory and Carson Hocevar's near win. Instead of celebrating the race itself, much of the NASCAR world spent the following days analyzing Wallace's final lap move, frame by frame. Television analysts, former drivers, and racing insiders continued offering conflicting opinions, ensuring the controversy remained in the headlines long after the checkered flag. As NASCAR now turns its attention toward North Wilkesboro, the Wallace penalty remains one of the defining talking points of the season. For Wallace, the disappointment of losing a podium finish has only added motivation heading into the next race. For NASCAR, however, the incident has reopened questions about officiating consistency and whether one of the sport's most controversial rules still serves its intended purpose in modern racing. One of the biggest viral NASCAR stories this week revolves around Carson Hocevar following his dramatic performance at Atlanta's Echo Park Speedway. The Spire Motorsports driver came within sight of victory before ultimately finishing near the front, but the post-race conversation became even bigger than the result itself. Analysts, fans, and fellow drivers have been debating whether Hocevar's aggressive reputation is now affecting how competitors race against him.